And we're going to start off laying on our backs. Settling into our space here. Finding a nice comfortable position with knees bent, feet flat, feet about hip distance apart. Option to close your eyes if you want to as you start to bring some more awareness into your body. And we're going to start with some nice deep breathing here. So inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Maybe your hands come to your belly or your chest to kind of observe what's happening here. Asking yourself where you're breathing from, if it's coming more from your belly or more from your chest. Can you feel your ribs expanding? Can you feel your belly rising and falling? And just kind of winding down from the rest of our day. As you exhale, I want you to bring a little bit of some activation in through your center. Whatever that means for you, it's just something happening right underneath of those hands. So maybe noticing a little tightening of the belly. Maybe noticing the rib cage just tucking down so slightly. And as you inhale, you just relax and release. And becoming aware of a big difference between those two positions, that relaxed and that exhale, and a little bit of activation, building some fire in the center. On the next one, we're going to exhale and hold that gentle activation. Again, it doesn't have to be very drastic here. And we're going to just continue normal breathing. So maybe not a deep inhale, but just still appreciating that we can breathe normally. We can talk, we can walk, we can sit while still having some activation through the core. On this next one, we're going to just start to lighten up the feet a little bit. See how that changes the work here. Maybe your pelvis tucks under ever so slightly to make your feet lighter on your mat. And then we're going to start just a nice gentle marching with the lower body. So hinging from the hip, we're going to lift one leg off of our mat, gently placing it back down and switching sides. This doesn't have to be a huge march at all. Just thinking about the work coming from the lower abdominals more so than the thighs and the hips. We're sharing that work between the two. Good. Continuing to march, continuing to observe with your hands what's going on here, and continuing to keep both feet relatively light on your mat. Starting to increase the height of our march so that we end up with one leg in tabletop with knee directly over the hip. On this next one, we're going to add a little bit of a upper body component as well. So, as one leg lifts into tabletop, we're going to do a nice little press with the same side arm. Hand meets kind of the upper thigh towards the knee, and then we'll relax it down. Switching sides, exhale, press, match equal pressure, and lower down. As you press, ask yourself what you're feeling differently, and if you notice a deeper, stronger connection in the core as you do so. Should be exhaling so that you can hear your own breath here. On this last one, whatever side you're connecting in, we're going to press down and in, and then we're going to inhale, reach, and lengthen long. Exhale, press back down. Inhale, lengthen long. Arms and legs are going about 45 degrees away from the center of the body. Good. Last one here. And switching sides. So again, same side hand connects the same side leg. Exhale as you press down. Inhale as you reach. We're just matching gentle, equal pressure towards the center. Inhale, reach long. That opposite leg that's on the ground should still be relatively light on your mat, so don't use that to counter pressure. As you go from this pressed position in to our outwards reach, no change should be happening in the low back at all. Last one here. Perfect. Relax both feet down. Relax your core and your belly the whole way. From here, arms can come right down by your sides, and we're going to prepare for a few shoulder bridges. So inhaling through the nose, we're going to exhale and start with a little tilt and tuck of the tailbone, and then slowly lower down. As you start to tuck the tailbone, I want you to think about these low abs scooping up towards your belly button, and then slowly release. We're trying to keep this as segmental as possible. So see if you can really kind of press that vertebrae down into your mat before you start to lift. It's a small motion, but done effectively, we can get a lot of work out of this. On this next one, we're going to start to peel up one vertebrae higher each time. So not forgetting about that initial lift and that initial scoop up. And then same thing as you lower, placing each vertebrae down, tailbone is the last to touch. Exhale, scoop and peel, a little bit higher, and slowly lower. On this last one, finding our way to our top position, and whatever that means for you, whether that's halfway lifted, 3/4, or all the way, just as long as there's no pressure or tension in the neck. So maybe you want to look from right to left just to make sure everything is nice and relaxed. Pressure just kind of in the shoulder blades or at the bottom of the shoulder blades. As we hold at the top, we should feel our glutes squeezing. And from here, we're going to start to just tap both toes up towards the ceiling, lifting and lowering. Perfect. On this last one, toes lower down and heels lift, both at the same time. Should feel like a mini calf raise. Maybe you can't lift up as high as you normally can. Feeling a deeper sensation for that soleus muscle. Last one here. Good. Heels come down. Toes are going to come back up, but this time we're going to tap toes side to side like we're doing a windshield wiper. So toes tap left, they come up, and then toes tap right. Everything else stays pretty still here. Last two. And one. Toes are going to come back to the center. Slowly lower your hips down, one vertebrae at a time. Tailbone last thing to touch, and when you lower, give yourself a little hug in towards your chest. Maybe rocking from side to side, maybe giving yourself little circles here. Perfect. From here, we're going to keep hugging onto our right knee only. Let your left leg come back down towards the mat. We're going to be here for a few single leg bridges. So as you release your arms back down by your sides, try your best to keep your knee in close to your chest. And then as you exhale, we're going to drive down through that left heel as we lift both hips nice and even up towards the ceiling and slowly lower down. Pretend like there's a string kind of attached to that right knee that's lifting you straight up so that your right hip is not any lower than your left. Maybe your hands come to the front of your hips to kind of monitor and see what's going on there. Good. On this last one, we're going to hold up to the top. Little pulses higher and faster. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly roll down. Good. Let your right foot come down. Hug your left knee in towards your chest. As you release your arms down, trying your best to keep that left knee in close to you as best as you can. And then exhale, driving now through the right heel as we lift both hips up, squeezing the glutes at the top, and slowly lower. Exhale, squeeze and lift. Inhale, lower, maybe taking your hands again to the front of the hip bones to see if they're level or if one side is tilted down. On the last one, holding here at the top, little pulses higher and faster, squeezing for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower down. Perfect. Hug both knees into your chest again, giving yourself little circles or rocks. And we're going to take both legs into tabletop, knees directly over the hips, finding that nice strong position here. Maybe hands again on the lower abs to kind of monitor what's going on, feeling the position of our low back and our spine in neutral. From here, we're going to exhale and press one leg to straight, lengthening it long at about 45 degrees. And then bend it back in. Exhale, shoot the other leg long and straight. And bring it back in. Good. Once again, making sure that as you go from the bent knee to the straight leg, nothing changes here. Finding that control. If you notice any arching, maybe don't lower your leg quite as far. Last one on each side. If you need a break, take it, hug your knees into your chest. If you can stay in your tabletop hold, stay here. From here, we're going to hinge down for a reverse march. So coming from the hip, slowly lowering down only as far as you can, maintaining that neutral spine, and then hinge it back up to the top. So the knee isn't bending anymore, it's staying at that about 90 degrees. Just a hinge from the hip. Exhale it back up to the top. Good. Last one here. If you need to take a break, do so. Hug your knees into your chest. If you can stay here, try your best to stay here. We have one more in this series. We're going to be working those low abs. Hands can either come down by your sides, or for more of a challenge, have your arms a little bit wider or above the head. Knees are going to hug in towards your chest, lifting your tailbone and rounding your back as much as you can. Slowly lower back down. Making sure that our head and neck stay nice and relaxed with this one. Sometimes you have the tendency to kind of strain through the neck here. So relax the neck. Exhale, pull in. And then right back to tabletop to end. Yep, 2 more. Exhale, curl up. Maybe feeling some shakes here. Last one. Perfect. Relax it down. Feet can come down to your mat. We're going to take just a gentle Windshield viper, knees rocking side to side, only as far as you want to go. Relaxing through the core. Perfect. From here, knees back up towards the ceiling. We're going to extend our right leg long and straight on the mat. From here, engage through your lower abdominals. Kind of see if you can lift your tailbone almost like it's pointing a little bit up. We're going to squeeze that straight leg and then exhale, raise it up until it's about the height of the opposite knee. Yep. Slowly lower down. Exhale, scoop and lift from your center. Inhale, lower. On this next one, same thing, but we're going to have toes pointed out, heel pointed in, kneecap is pointing to the side a little bit. Exhale, squeeze the leg and lifting up to the height of the opposite knee. And slowly lower. Last one. See if you can lighten up that knee. Good. Slide that leg back in. Same thing on the other side. Shoot that left leg straight and long. Find your core by kind of scooping up and in a little bit. See if you can tilt your pelvis a little bit upwards. Lighten up that bent knee foot. Exhale, squeeze and lift. Inhale, lower. From here, toe points out, heel points in. Same thing, squeeze that leg. Exhale, lift. Inhale and lower. Last one. Perfect. Slide that knee back up. From here, let's go ahead and raise both legs straight up towards the ceiling. Legs are as straight as they can be, but if that's not happening, it's okay with a little bend. From here, we're going to squeeze heels together, toes apart. And I want you to think about the backs of your inner thighs also squeezing together. From here, we're going to start with little circles. Circles are about the size of a volleyball. We're going to reverse directions each time. Exhaling at the bottom of your circle. Last one on each side. And hug your knees into your chest. Perfect. From here, let's roll over onto our side. In the sideline position, we're going to set ourselves up so that hips are stacked one on top of the other. That means that the top hip isn't rolling forward and it's not rolling back. Head is supported by our hand, or if we want to rest our head onto our arm, that also works. Whatever is more comfortable. We're going to start with engaging the core, so thinking about like a lifting sensation all the way from the bottom to the top, almost like a wrapping, coming around the body. Everything above the waist stays frozen. We're going to lift the top leg up at the height of the hip. Preferably top hand somewhere other than the mat in front of you. We want to use the core to stabilize rather than the arm. So maybe top hand on the top hip. From here, reach that top leg long, a little bit longer than you think you can, as if someone's pulling it away from the center of your body. Keep reaching, and we're going to kick forward, inhaling, and then exhale, kicking to the back. I'm only kicking as far as I can while maintaining that control through the center. So think about what you need to do to keep your upper body still, to keep your rib cage closed, to keep your top shoulder from rocking forward and back. On this next one, we're going to add a little bit of a bicycle kick. So you're going to bend and extend, reach long and straight. Every time that leg straightens back out, think about it reaching a little bit further towards your wall. Exhale, reach long, starting to feel some good work through the top side of the hip. On this next one, reverse direction straight to the front, bend and extend to the back. On this last one, hold that leg lifted if you can, little circles. Size of tennis ball or baseball. Breathing here. Reverse directions of your circles. For 3, 2, 1. Relax this top leg down in front of you. Either knee comes down or foot can come flat, knee points up. Whatever works here for you. Bottom leg is going to shoot long and straight where we will take our focus. Exhale, lift that bottom leg all the way up as high as you can, squeezing at the top, and slowly lower down. Exhale, lift, squeeze, and lower. Try not to plop it down. On this next one, hold lifted, little circles again. Does not have to be the most coordinated circle, but this rotation is coming from the hip socket, not just the ankle. Reverse directions. Our bottom leg should start to feel very, very heavy by now. On this last one, we're going to lift all the way up as high as you can and just hold and squeeze. Give me 1 inch higher up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower that bottom leg down and re-stack the top leg back up and over. We're going to end with a little bit of kicking here. So starting off with what we call développé, top toes come to bottom knee. Knee is pointed at about 45 degrees here, so it's not all the way up towards the ceiling, but kind of following that external rotation of the hip. And then it's going to kick out and flex down. So again, toe to knee, point up, and kick down. Good. On this next one, reverse direction. So flex up to the top, bend in and point down. Trying our best this whole time to keep hips stacked one on top of the other, not letting this top hip roll backwards. To end, one more kind of ballet-based move called rond de jambe. Straight leg at the top. We're going to swing it forward and circle around and down. Straight leg forward, swing out and down. This one should feel really challenging because we have a lot of weight with that straight leg coming from the hip socket. And reverse directions, straight up to the top, circle in front. Good. Last one. Awesome job. Roll over onto your back. Whatever leg was on top, that's the side you're going to cross ankle over knee for your figure 4. Couple options here. You can keep your foot down and just rotate and rock through this, seeing how it feels. If you do choose to grab up and underneath your opposite leg, just make sure that head, neck, and shoulders stay relaxed. So if you notice your chin jutting upwards and forwards, maybe just try to hold somewhere else so we can keep that relaxed. Finding some movement here and just seeing what feels the best. Breathing through it, melting those hips down towards your mat. Last deep breath. When you are ready, we're going to do a nice 180, head coming to the other end of your mat, so we can set up for side lying on the other side. Once again, we're going to set ourselves up so that hips are stacked, one on top of the other, making sure that our core is engaged and our upper body is still and frozen. Top hand somewhere other than the mat, maybe on top hip. From here, lifting up with that top leg, reach it even longer than you think you can. That should help to kind of lift the core and find this wrapping sensation, bottom to top. Keep that length here. Inhale, kick forward. Exhale, kick back. As you kick back, making sure you do feel a little squeeze here in the bigger glute muscle. Notice if one side of the body felt more wobbly than the other. Just doing what we can to find control through the center. And if that means a smaller kick, then that's okay. I know most people can go much further with the kick, but we kind of lose it through the center. Keep checking back in throughout this series to make sure that that top leg doesn't drop down below the height of the hip. On this next one, we're going to bend and extend for that bicycle kick. Sweep long and straight. Bend and extend. Every time the leg straightens, it also lengthens. On this next one, reverse directions, backward bicycle kick. From here, reach that leg long again, right underneath you, small little circles. Pretend like you're trying to draw those circles on that opposite wall. It's reaching long. Reverse directions. Last 3, 2, 1. Relax that top knee down in front of you. Either knee down or foot flat with knee pointing up, whichever feels best here. Straightening out that bottom leg. Exhale, squeeze and lift it up as high as you can. See if you can get 1 inch further up than you think you can. Slow and controlled here, resisting that plop down. Maybe you'll even be able to see your foot on the other side of your hip. On this last one, hold lifted, little circles. Does not have to be the most coordinated circle. It can look more like a blob, but just keep that leg moving. And reverse directions. Last one here, hold lifted up as high as you can. Squeeze and breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lower that leg down. Top leg is going to come back up and over. Restack the hips if they got a little off. And then from here, our développé, top toes to bottom knee. Knee is kind of at that 45-degree angle. And extend up and flex it down. Bend in, point up, flex down. resisting that desire to roll up towards the ceiling. So try not to rock back, staying stacked, and reverse directions. Flex up to the top, bend in and point down and long. Flex it up, point in and reach down. On this last one, starting our rond de jambe kick, straight leg swings forward and flexes down. Once again, you can make this a smaller kick if that means more control. Reverse direction, straight up to the top, forward and around. Last one. And whichever leg was on top, that's what's going to cross for our figure four, rolling over onto our backs. Ankle over knee or whatever works best for you. Finding that sweet spot where we just worked. Maybe pressing the knee away. Perfect. Taking some nice deep breaths every time you exhale, sinking a little bit deeper into that stretch. When you are ready, reaching arms and legs long for a full body stretch here, almost as if you just woke up. You can point your feet or flex your feet, whatever feels best. Keep finding that length as you roll over onto your belly. From here, arms keep reaching overhead, legs keep reaching long. Lift your belly button off of your mat, engaging the core here. And then opposite arm and opposite leg are going to reach really long away from your belly button. They're reaching so long that they start to hover off of your mat. Your head comes with you. Slowly lower down. Switching sides, opposite arm, opposite leg. Exhale, reach and lift. And lower. Good. Keep alternating sides. Keep thinking about that length. Keep engaging your core. On this next one, either staying at this speed or maybe picking up the pace a little bit, lifting and lowering, lift and lower. And then either staying at this pace or arms lift, legs lift, we're flutter kicking and breathing here, reaching long, head stays neutral along with the spine for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower everything down. Perfect. From here, we're going to take a little prop up onto the elbows. Your elbows don't have to be all the way under your shoulders. This really just depends on how it feels for your back. So you can keep it kind of a low lift. And then from here, all we're going to do is exhale and try our best to lift belly button off of the mat, hips stay down, and rib cage kind of tucks down towards your belly button. Inhale, relax down. Pressing your shoulders down away from your ears, neck is long and lengthened. Exhale, lift belly button up. Inhale, back down. Last one. Exhale, lift. It's a really small change here. Perfect. From here, hands are going to come underneath your chest and we'll press all the way back to child's pose. Knees can open a little bit wider if that feels better. Arms reaching long, forehead coming down. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. relaxing everything, your belly, your pelvic floor. We want to take those moments to relax everything between all of that activation and that tightening. One last deep breath here. We're going to stay in our child's pose position, but hands are going to widen to the width of our mat, and then thumbs are going to point upwards, pinkies pointing down. From here, drop your shoulders away from your ears, sliding your shoulder blades down your back. We're going to do an exercise for the low trap muscle. So, as best as you can, keeping shoulders away from your ears, with one arm only, we're going to lift and hover off of your mat, and then lower back down. Switching sides, lift, hover, and lower. So sometimes this feels surprisingly challenging. It might feel like your arm is really, really heavy. That's because this should be difficult here. We want to feel the work somewhere in the mid-back if possible. So see if you can feel that instead of anywhere in the shoulders or neck. Last one on each side. Good. From here, we're going to take a nice little spinal twist, threading your left hand underneath your right armpit, looking towards that side, cheek or ear comes down. Take a nice deep breath. And then coming back out, right hand threads under left armpit, looking towards that side. Nice deep breath. And hand comes back out. We're going to come out onto our hands and knees here. Knees directly underneath the hips, hands directly underneath the shoulders. Taking a few cat-cows to start. So rounding your back as much as you can, looking toward your belly button. Tailbone drops down as if it's coming in between your legs. And then arching your back, dropping the chest, dropping the belly, looking slightly forward. Taking a few more at your own pace. Trying to articulate through the whole spine, so not just the low back, but the upper back as well. Dropping your shoulders. Shoulder blades squeezing together, and then shoulder blades pressing apart. Good. Find that neutral spine, so find that flat back. From here, we're going to practice our bird dog. So, opposite arm and opposite leg are going to reach long, first just on your mat. Find that length, feel like someone is pulling that opposite arm and leg away from the center of the body, and then just a little lift, a little hover, a few inches off of your mat. We're not going to go in that full straight line because that may compromise our nice neutral spine. Lower back down onto your mat and then slide it back down and under. Switching sides, reach and slide long. Find that length first, engaging your core, and then lifting. Lower back to your mat and come on back in. Keep switching sides. If you want to add an added challenge here, what I like to do sometimes is still try the exact same thing, except now lifting both toes off of the mat. If this is uncomfortable for the knees, you might need a little bit more padding, but see if you can do this bird dog with lifting the toes, still reaching long, it becomes a lot more challenging because we didn't know that the toes are a big contact point in terms of our stability. So by taking out the toes, we really are now on 2 points of contact, that hand and that knee. And last one here. Perfect. If you need to shake out those wrists a little bit, hopefully that was a good added challenge if you haven't tried that one before with toes lifted. From here, we're going to come down onto our forearms for a plank. If you do want to do this on your hands, you're more than welcome. If you do choose forearms though, maybe try your best to keep forearms parallel rather than hands clasping together. And then maybe palms facing up towards the ceiling to get a little bit more opening through the chest. When you are ready, pressing down through your forearms, broadening up the upper back, taking one leg out and coming into your nice plank position. We're looking for a nice long straight line all the way from the heels through the top of your head. Check in with your head and neck just to make sure it's not drooping down or sticking up. Lengthen the back of your neck and you should be looking right in between those forearms. Holding there and breathing. If you can, stay here for the last 3 seconds. If you need to take a break, do that. And relax it down. Perfect. This next set, we're going to do a little hinge or saw. And then all that changes for the most part is it's as if our feet are pointing and flexing. So coming back into our nice strong plank position. From here, as we point the toes, we're going to just shift forward a few inches, and then as we flex the feet, we're going to shift backwards. So our whole body is kind of moving as a unit. Feeling a lot of good work in the shoulders, stabilizing with the shoulder blades. Keep pushing down strong. Last 2. And last one. Taking a quick break again if you need it, sitting back either in child's pose, rolling out the wrists if you were on your hands. From here, our last one will be a little gentle lift of one leg. So back into our nice strong plank. From here, instead of lifting up towards the ceiling, we're going to lift and hover and tap wide to the outside of your mat, and then bring it back in. Again, tap to the outside, hovering just a little bit. Everything else stays relatively still. Check back in with your head and neck. Keep breathing. Last one on each side. Perfect. Relax everything down. Taking a nice deep breath. When you are ready, we're going to slide our legs forward for our first just nice forward fold here. Shaking the legs out if you need to. Take a nice reach up and over. Inhaling through the nose, and as you exhale, just sink a little bit deeper. Option to bring some rocking side to side. Perfect. From here, making sure that there's a little bit of room behind you on your mat, we're going to stack our spine all the way up, one vertebrae on top of the other. Knees can be a little bent if they need to. Arms are going to come out in front. Relax your shoulders away from your ears, And then starting with the tailbone, we're going to tuck that down, and we're going to round our vertebrae, pulling belly button in as if someone is poking you right in the center. Only lower as far as you can, knowing that you're going to sit right back up to the top. So you have to play around with it, finding that point of no return. So exhale, roll back, relax your shoulders down. Maybe getting a little bit further this time. And then restacking all the way back up, all the way onto your sits bones. Yep. Exhale, roll down. And rolling up. On this last one, we're going to roll back about halfway down, or a point where you feel like you can hold it. Finding that point here, relax your shoulders away from your ears. We're going to inhale and reach one arm up towards the ceiling. Exhale it back down. Switching sides. Noticing that your core has to work a little bit harder as weight travels away from the center of the body. On this next one, reach into a diagonal, so kind of like a Y, and back down. Keep switching sides. Relax the legs as best you can. And then lastly, we're going to reach right out into a T. So inhale, one arm opens wide. Exhale it back in. Switching sides. Last one on each. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Perfect. Reach all the way forward, stretching over those legs. Give yourself a little shake if you need to. Either flexing the feet or pointing the feet. From here, scoot your hips forward just a little bit. Knees are going to bend. Heels pointing down, toes pointing up. Arms out by your side. Round your back quite a lot. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. From here, hinging from the hip, lifting and lowering in a little march here. Either continuing this march or raising one leg and bringing the other to match for our boat pose hold. Just finding stillness here. Feeling all those little adjustments. See where your weight has to be to make this happen. Breathing here for the last 3, 2, 1. Relax in butterfly. Soles of the feet together, nose to toes. We're going to come back out into boat pose one more time. Other option is just continuing to practice that march. So round your back, either marching and switching, or both legs coming up, holding in that boat pose, finding stillness. From here, we're going to take little lifts with both the chest and the legs in towards the center. So little breaths of air, little pulses. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax back into butterfly, nose to toes. From here, take your right arm up towards the ceiling, looking towards that hand for a nice little twist. Maybe feeling a nice stretch through the low back or the side. And switching sides, left hand up towards the ceiling, looking towards that hand. Deep breath in and out. Good, send it back down. We're gonna do one more exercise for the side muscles, our obliques. So feet are going to come flat, knees pointing up. Hands are going to come into prayer right at the chest bone here. Try not to let the prayer hands come over to the shoulders at all, staying right in the middle. We're going to round down a little bit. Exhale, twist to one side. Keep the hands right at the center. And then back up to the top. Exhale, twist to the other side. And center. On this last one, hold a twist, little pulses further down, elbow towards your mat. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch sides, exhale, twist. Hold that twist, little pulses, little reaches, elbow towards your mat. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Folding forward, we're going to crisscross our legs. I'm going to turn to face you guys. From here, either hand or elbow comes down towards your mat, reaching up and over for a nice long side stretch. Making sure that as you do this, that opposite hip doesn't pop off of your mat. We're staying anchored down. Take this top arm and circle. And over to the other side, either hand or elbow, and then reach long. Circle top arm. And back to the top. Clasp your hands together. Reach your hands forward and your chest backwards, looking towards your belly button. Take some nice deep breaths in as you inhale, expanding into those back upper ribs. Option to slide from side to side a little bit. Both hands coming to the left, both hands coming to the right. Seeing how that feels for the opposite side of the body. And then back to the center. Reach your hands back behind you. Open the chest, looking slightly upwards, inhaling. And exhale. Sit up as tall as you can. Find some new length through the spine. See if you can sit up as tall as you possibly can, engaging the core. Roll your shoulders backwards. As you come up, slide down as if you're trying to reach your shoulder blades into your back pockets without arching your back. Squeezing down and back. Last one. From here, send shoulders up towards your ears. We're going to squeeze our eyes, our hands, our toes, every muscle that we possibly can, all that tension in, and exhale, shake it out and relax it down. One more like that. Everything up and in, noticing that we can fully contract and we can fully relax. Shake it out and let it go. Awesome, awesome job. Thank you guys so much for joining.